It's Link here. Welcome back to some more Blue Protocol news. In this particular video, we're going to be talking about the brand new type of dungeon that they introduced. Now, this dungeon is completely new. Like the way that it works, how you join in, all that stuff, brand new, never before seen. Of course, it's in Japanese, so the audio is going to be muted, but I do have a bit of like a rough translation, which we will go on and go over. With that being said, please like, please subscribe for more Blue Protocol news, and let's get to it. All right, so the very first thing you're going to notice here is that they are looking through the group finder, which, by the way, it's just the devs playing, so they're not looking, for a long time. But this is essentially the group finder, which you would be able to join in here with anyone you want or any randoms and all that stuff. And it does alert you when someone's trying to join in. Now, I'll speed up through this process because I want to make a video specifically for this alone. But keep in mind, this dungeon can be played with friends, up to 6 people, or you can play with randoms, which is absolutely okay. And depending on the time of day, it might be a longer queue or whatnot. But I think it should be fine because this dungeon is called the Beginner Dungeon Tower. So chances are people are going to be doing this anywhere between level 15 to 20, give or take. So with that being said, you're probably going to find people doing this for like the first month constantly. And the way that this dungeon works, you'll notice why people will be doing this quite often, because it's a very straightforward dungeon, but it's actually very challenging. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. They're talking about, what this dungeon is and all that stuff. And like I said, I'll go through it while we actually see them doing the dungeon. While they're doing the dungeon, they weren't really saying much because they were so like busy playing. So I figured I just fast forward here. They're chilling, waiting in the group finder. You will see at the top of the screen when the new person joins in, and then on the bottom left underneath my character, you will see that they actually join in a little bit. So there you go. They're starting to join in one by one. And this is exactly how it'll work for you, for your party, or with randoms. It doesn't matter. It's the exact same way. Now, keep in mind that if a random joins that you don't know who it is, you can actually kick them out, and the match won't start until you, the party leader, officially queues in for the match. So keep that in mind. All right. So they're queuing in. They're chilling. All right. So now here's the dungeon. The way that this dungeon works is actually very interesting. It is a dungeon that has 20 floors. You have to go higher up the floor to finish the dungeon up to floor 20. But there's a catch to it. While it is a 6-player dungeon, it's not a dungeon that you do like puzzles and stuff like that, or you have to run around through many rooms. It's just an arena for the floor, right? And within this floor, you have to defeat whatever, or rather, it's not really a defeat kind of thing. It's more of like on the top right of the screen, you'll notice where it says floor 1 out of 20. It'll give you the first floor is free, but it'll give you an achievement or a quest rather that you have to complete. And this particular quest on the top right, the quest you have to do is you have to kill every single mob in this floor. You cannot leave any, you have to kill all of them, and you cannot leave this floor until you kill every single mob. So you have to work as a team together, bring the right weapons to be able to do this, because if you do not, then of course you're going to have a hard time doing this. Now keep in mind, this dungeon is timed. You only have 20 minutes to finish all 20 floors, so that gives you about a minute per floor. However, of course, if you do a floor rather quickly, then that gives you more time to spare for the future floors. Now, early on in the dungeon, it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, nothing crazy, just kill everything. However, later on, you will notice, and by the way, right next to her, over to the right side, is the portal that you have to use in order to be able to go to the next floor. Once the floor is cleared, you will see this on screen, and then anyone in your party, doesn't necessarily have to be you, the party leader. Absolutely anyone in the party can go up to the portal, and if one person clicks it, it sends everybody upstairs to the next floor. The next floor, it's more or less the same thing. However, you have to kill the big dudes back there instead of like absolutely everything, which is a little bit different because you can ignore the other ones, but of course they're going to be doing a lot of damage. And this is important because you only have, you only have 12 lives in total, 12 revives. So while you can revive your party members, you can only revive each other 12 times. Like all together, you guys share that life pool. And if you guys use up all 12, and you die, let's say at like floor 17 or whatever, then that's it for you, and the rest of the party can carry on without you. But remember, the game, or rather, the tower gets progressively harder the higher you go. So you need to make sure that you do not die. You need to make sure that you do heal when you can, and not risk too much, So there's that for this particular floor. they cleared it. Like I say, not every floor equals you having to defeat everything, but rather to do that particular objective. In the next floor, we have an objective which is actually to kill everything here. So here's another one, right, where you do have to kill all sorts of stuff. Now, there is different monsters. It's not always the same two different monsters. There's also mini bosses and regular big bosses and whatnot later on, of course. And at some point, you will notice that there is, actually, I think it's a little bit ahead of this. Yeah, because they're on floor number 5, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this. Again, this is kill all 4 of those little guys or whatnot. And again, it may not seem like it's very difficult, but keep in mind, these guys are over-leveled. Everybody in this party is about like 20 to 25, while the monsters right now are level 16. Remember, the name of this dungeon is Beginner Dungeon Tower, so chances are these monsters will be like under level 20 for the most part. So that's why these guys are kind of more or less rushing through this. However, 2 of them do actually die, so like, even if you're like above 20, you shouldn't just, casually run through this, because you can definitely take a lot of damage if you are not paying attention and whatnot, So, just fast forwarding through this real quick. There is one bit of breathing room area or whatnot that they introduced at around, like, I think floor 6 or 7. And there's apparently, I think they're going to take it right now. See, is it this? Yeah, okay, so in floor 6, you get yourself a bit of a rest room kind of thing, where you can get yourself a buff on the right and a heal on the left for everybody in the party. And this is just simple as that. It's just a rest room where, like I said, you have 1 minute per floor, because there's 20 floors for 20 minutes. And this floor, if you do it pretty quickly, you should only be here for about like 10 seconds. You spawn on this side, the portals are on the other side, as you can tell. And that's it. So this is, again, a breathing room, and it counts as a floor. So from 5, you go to 6, which is the restroom, and then 7, and then you carry on. There is, I'm pretty sure, another one at around like level 12 or 13, and then there's one more between 13 and 20, and then that's it. So there's 3 rooms that are restrooms, and then the remaining 17 are actually fights and whatnot. So have to make sure you use these wisely, but do not take too long in here unless you have, like, I guess, time to spare, if you're, good enough or whatnot. Let me see. At around floor 8, by the way, they start introducing a bit more difficult things. Right now, is you have to kill 3 of the unique type of monsters or whatnot. Again, these are like more or less rough translations. I could be completely wrong, to be honest, but you have to kill those guys back there, whatever they're called. So once you kill them, next floor. And this one's a little interesting too. You have to kill this guy, but you have to be careful because of the walls around. There are minions back there, and I'm not sure how this works, but at some point you can see that the minions start to come out. So I guess you have to be like super fast, because if you take too long, more and more minions start to come out. Again, you can ignore these minions, because if you focus too much on them, you're going to be wasting time when the main focus is this big dude right here and not the other guys, right? So while you do have to avoid them and not completely ignore them, I wouldn't actually attack them unless you have, like, I don't know, a player who can somehow build aggro or some like nice AoE control abilities, to be able to keep these guys from getting in your way of the main boss. Because you can't walk through enemies, so if you can't reach that guy, you're gonna have to, like, fight your way through these minions or whatever. And you carry on. They do not do the whole entire floor, by the way. Sorry, the whole entire dungeon. They stop at around, like, I think like 13 or something like that. This particular floor, you have to kill one specific monster. I'm pretty sure it's that guy right there, the one that they're all attacking, with a couple of mobs and whatnot. And let me see, what else did I put on my notes here real quick? Again, this isn't Japanese, so I'm not like gonna put the volume up, because I wouldn't be able to like understand it. Neither would you guys, for the most part, I'm assuming. So I'm trying to look at my notes here to see if there's anything else that's like really worth mentioning. Oh, here's one thing that's worth mentioning. So right now, as you can tell, the bosses are getting bigger and bigger. One thing that's worth mentioning is they never covered loot, like as in what do you get for your rewards. I'm assuming you get something, obviously, because it is a dungeon, but they didn't tell you whether or not, like, for example, if you fell, if you don't like actually complete all 20 floors, what happens? Do you get a reward still? Is it minimized? Do you get nothing? Do you get way more rewards for finishing it? I assume you do, right? But they didn't show any of that stuff. So, and they also didn't talk about it either, at least not from what I saw. So we'll have to see what the rewards are for this particular dungeon. However, for the normal dungeons, they changed them up quite a lot. So I'm going to be making a video for that too. They're not towers, but they did change the way that they actually work, which honestly, Some of you guys may not like it, but I personally love the change for the dungeons, and I'll make a video for that in the near future. So make sure you guys subscribe for that for sure. And let's see if I can find anything else real quick. Oh, someone died in the floor below. Like they were at, I think, floor number 9, and someone died at floor 8 right before they teleported upwards. And I'm pretty sure if you die in the bottom floor and you teleport to the next floor, it will still teleport you. So like, let's say right here, if your teammate dies and he's on the opposite side where the portal isn't, you can actually teleport, and then the teleport will take everybody, including your down teammate, up to the next floor. So then that way you don't waste time down here, and you can just revive them up there and whatnot. So use that, you know, as a way to save time, if you will. And as you can tell, they're at floor 10 halfway through, and they're now having actual mini bosses, or I guess maybe this is just a regular boss or whatnot. So it does get progressively harder. So please make sure that when you're doing this, you do not waste time with any other random boss. Now, they're almost done with this video, so I'll end it here for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe. And I have about 3 or 4 more Blue Protocol videos that I'm currently working on. And I will be making videos for other games out there too, of course. But right now, Blue Protocol is my main focus. So I would appreciate it if you guys like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this new type of dungeon. Because, listen, this kind of dungeon is honestly easy to like replicate. So I wouldn't be surprised if they throw out like 10 of these, right? Kind of like they do with raids and dungeons. Because I mean, let's face it, you can throw out different kind of dungeons that are like based on like different kind of elements, like fire type dungeons, water type dungeons, ice type dungeons, and stuff like that, making you have to prepare for them, and in return making them even more fun, aka also adding more content. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.